similar, but also how are then, like in any neighborhood where there's covenants and things, how are those things enforced? That everybody there is held accountable to the standards to, like you said, kind of keep it up and build community where they each feel safe. And as a collective part of, I have a part and piece in this to keep it sustainable.
Okay, so Jennifer, do me a favor, prompt me with, because you said a lot in that, and I want to answer all of it. So prompt me with agreements, okay? That's just agreements. I want to speak to the first part. The first part is everyone on the property pays rent, so they won't own it. Everyone on the property pays rent, and this is not transitional. This is permanent. So when folks move in here, it's their permanent home. It's their forever home. Now, here's the thing. This will, right now, targeting 55 and over. Because the average age of a person living on the streets is 55. Now, transition, what you're talking, is the average age of a person dying on the streets is 62. So it's a short lifespan that someone would live in one of these homes, because this is for chronically homeless people. So this is not for, because we have other services, this is not for a person who lost their job, but can still work and saying, hey, I just need somewhere to stay for 30 days and I can get back up on my feet. We have men's shelter, we have women's shelter, we have family shelter, we have men and women drug and alcohol programs. So if they're just needing help, we have that. This is going to be for the hardest to help. The folks who have been out in the streets for 5, 10, 15 years, who for whatever reason have burned all the bridges, and they really just need somewhere to be that is dignified and is not in the bushes on the side of the street. So is that answering that part of the question? Thank you for the prompt. I remember. Yes, sir.
You say they will be paying rent.
Yes.
So you're assuming these people are on Social Security, average 55 years or over, or they've got disability, something coming in from the federal, most likely.
Yes.
In terms of coming now to a mailbox.
Yes. Someone. If you don't have that, we have a 2-acre farm here. This is 86.5 acres. 27 of those acres is where the homes will be built. 25, 26, 27, where the homes will be built. Someone can work on property and that would pay for their rent. Now we go back to the agreement. Does that answer your question?
Thank you.
And is their rent based on their income?
So there's 300 square foot homes and 399 square foot homes. 300 square foot homes will go about 400. About 400. 399 square foot homes will go about 500. So if they are on Social Security, it's about 900 some odd dollars. They'll be able to pay for rent on that property.
Does that include their utilities or utilities separate?
So we're working on that now,
Okay.
but it's all going to be on one meter.
Okay.
They're not going to be individually metered.
Okay.
Oh,
Right, so there'll be a collective amount, and then it'll kind of get divvied out to each apartment or cottage.
Because it's a rental type of property.
Correct.
So let's just say none of these people had social security
Yeah.
or disability, right? So you had all of these, and they were working to, or doing something collectively in the community, who then pays for all the sustainability of the units and the power and all
Yeah,
that? Where
so
does
now-
that get funded?
So now we're getting back to the agreements.
Okay.
Okay, so the agreements are these. One, there's a rental agreement. You will have to pay rent. Some kind of way, you'll have to come up with the money to pay rent. Or you won't be able to live there. So we have a team of folks who are way smarter than I am who are working that out. So there's one, the rental agreement. There's the Good Neighbor Village agreement, which means that you will not be a problem to the other neighbors on the property. Because again, so you say, man, you're taking all these people, you're just gonna, this is one of the arguments, you're taking all these people, just gonna throw them into this this, I've heard this, and I'll say it, but it's not true. This compound where people are just kind of doing what they want to do, well, that's not gonna happen, because there's the rental agreement, there's a good neighbor village agreement where you will sign papers to be a good neighbor. Now, obviously, everyone's not gonna be a good neighbor. People will be asked to leave if you're not being a good neighbor. And the third one will be a health and wellness agreement. So if someone is on drugs and alcohol, they say, you know what, I really want to get off of this. There may be an opportunity for them to go into one of our men or women drug and alcohol programs, which are 9 to 12 months long, complete that program, and have come back to their home. Answer the question? Okay. So geographics. Are you all familiar with Spanaway Loop Road?
Yeah.
Okay, so this road is Spanaway Loop Road. It ends here at 176 or Cross Base Highway, and then it goes that way to Pacific Avenue. So on the right-hand side is where this is. JBLM property is down to this, down to the south here. Okay, so again, 86.5 acres. Now, when I took these guys on the tour, this is the red barn that you saw in the video. So it's way over here. Then there's the wetlands. And now let's talk about the wetlands. So we were asked to have a buffer of about here on the wetlands. We've decided to extend that buffer out. So we go above and beyond what was required by the county. Then we were required, they asked us if we would keep 30% of the trees. We have chosen to keep 70% of the trees because we want to preserve the environment, right? So we're trying to be as good neighbor as we can. Then we have folks who live back here. I think there's 12 to 14 homes back here where we're putting up a big fence. We haven't quite figured out what that is. No, it is not going to be a fence with barbed wire on top because I heard that the other day. I said, is that going to be barbed wire? Is that what these X's are for? Oh, that's not what it is. And then this is going to be the actual entrance where there's security checkpoints. So no one will be on property unless they're supposed to be on property. And so, again, there's the farm here. There will be multiple gardens around where folks can plant stuff, work in there. And now, eventually, this won't happen immediately because this will be the focus area that we're starting right now. This will be a big commons building, which we're trying to rename. We will have a grocery store. We'll have a little pavilion for folks to gather. And then here's the beautiful part, because this question will come up. Well, what about medical treatment? What about dental? So we're in talks right now with Multicare. Multicare will be on property, and just they'll office out of here, out of this building here for folks. Because again, we can't have a wellness program and a wellness agreement, but don't have the resources for people to get well. So we'll have that here, and possibly an art building here. Because one of the things that they do in Austin is they have a store, which you'll see here. We will have a market, and folks will make art, and then they'll sell that art in the store to tour. They do tours all the time. In fact, Jennifer's going down to Austin on the 27th, right? For a visit. Beautiful place. Again, recommend going down there if you really just want to see get the real vision of it, because I could talk about it all day long. And that's why it was so important for you to watch that video. I could talk about it all day long, but once you see it, you'll say, oh my gosh, wow, now I get the vision of it. And I think that that's what happened with George and Leslie, right? Because it was like, man, but when you see it and you feel the need that's out there, because again, when we talk about this, and I was on this podcast, and the podcast presenter was asking me the question. He says, why, right? Why this? And I said to him, he didn't know this. I said to him, did you know in 2023, there was 585 people that died on the streets of Pierce County? We don't know those statistics. That comes from homelessness.org. So you can look that statistic up, but it's like, people are dying. And I said, people are dying out in the streets. We see them every day. We see them, you want to, every truck stop or bus stop or grocery store exit and entrance, we see them until we don't. And then when we don't, we just don't miss them, right? So there's that. We expect people to pass away at Good Neighbor Village. So we're building a memorial because they have one in Austin, Texas, and you'll see it, it's beautiful. In Austin, Texas, where, well, remember when I talked about the first 6 guys that started that? One of them passed away and is memorialized there. Alan Graham, one of the founder and president, said, when he passes away, he would like to be memorialized there. It is so beautiful. Because what happens, and they showed a video, I was down there, they showed a video of and we'll have a hospice house as well, sometime in the future. But they had one in Austin, and there was a gentleman who would ride around and give people rides in his car, but he was passing away. They showed us this video. And I was in a room with about 200 people. And I got to tell you, there was not a dry eye in the place because of the love and the care. Now you could say, yeah, they made this video and it's, theatrics and all that stuff, but the care, you could tell. And here's where I broke it. There was one of the men who walked over and he just bent down and he just gave him a kiss on his forehead. And I lost it then because I thought that that's what happens in community. And everyone around the community was outside of it, having a kind of a memorial or a vigil. That's community. That's what we long for. And I got to tell you, I live in a community and we don't do that in our community. So I say, when we talk about neighbors, I had to be intentional about knowing my neighbors. So I know my neighbor over here, I know my neighbor in front over here, I know my neighbor over here, I know my neighbor over here, and another neighbor just moved in over here. But I went right over that day and said, do you need any help? I'm Frank, my wife and I stay right here because that's community. We look out for each other in community. But lately, we've gotten to the point of fences, walls, block in, winters, especially wintertime, it's like you hibernate, everybody goes in, you never see anybody till spring. Right? But it happens, but here, the hope is that we build that community of folks. Now, we cannot do that without having good people, such as yourself, help with that, and here's how. One of the key components of Community First Village is missionals. So missionals is to have volunteers from community, mostly from churches or business folks in the area who come and commit to living on property for 12 months or more to help build community. We call them missionals. And so we are having, right now in this part here, we're doing about 15 homes to start and then pushing backwards. We're going to have 3 missionals living on property. So that the ratio is 1 to 5 on property so that they can build the community. So the first folks that we have moving in here, you might say, well, how do we know the people that are going to move in there? So since its conception, we have our outreach team that goes out 7 days a week. We have our, what we call our search and rescue team that goes out at night. So outreach goes out during the day, search and rescue team goes out at night, and they have been building relationships with people who live in encampments, who live on the streets, and they actually know them by name. And they would say, I wonder if this person is a good fit for that. So it's not random. It's not like we're driving down the street and say, hey, get in the van, we're throwing you in a village. No, it's actually well thought out. And we're making connections and building, because the one thing that we know is it's all about relationship. If you know someone, you trust someone, you care about someone, And so I'm gonna pass these out and show you the book. This is the book that I got down in Austin, Texas, and it is Beyond Homelessness. And in this book, it speaks about this. And here's something that it was kind of a mind-blowing deal for me. I'll pass these out real quick. Hope I made enough. Online, I don't know what to tell you. So, in that, oh, I'm sorry. You do need one.
I'll send a copy of the minutes too. Oops. There you go.
So we define, or this is from Austin, Texas again, and this is out of this book, Beyond Homelessness. And it says Christian faith in a culture of displacement. And it speaks to what is home. What is home? And then it defines it, 8 marks of a home. And when I read this, I thought, is this my home? Can I say that I have this in my home? Because I could be missing some of this. Some days, and me and my wife have been married for 30 some odd years. Some days, it's not really a place of hospitality. It's not really a place of peace, right? But it should be. It should be a resting place. It should be a safe place. It should be a place of orientation where I can just come and be at home. So you're welcome to take that. And then on the next page, talks about, because the question comes up, well, what causes homelessness? And what they've defined and what we're defining is it is a catastrophic loss of family. So folks living on the streets have families somewhere, but they've lost them for whatever reason. And so all of these avenues lead to homelessness. And there's so many ways: loss of family, foster care system that crumbled on them, education, lack of education, trauma, hyper-individualism, adverse childhood experiences, mental health, physical health. All of these things can contribute to a person becoming homeless. So when we're looking at folks who are in the streets and we're saying, man, you're just on drugs. Well, that's not necessarily the truth. It could be a part of it, but it's not the only thing. There's several other things, and we want to address those. We want to be the people that address what the issue is, what's the root cause of this, and then provide, if it is a catastrophic loss of family, we want to put a family around you. If there's a lack of community, we want to build a community around you. So that's yours to take. And I'm just handing out stuff now, sorry. And I'll get back into it, but I want to make sure I don't forget. So I want to invite you. So part of my role is creating these neighborhoods of knowingness. Oh, I didn't coin that phrase like that from Austin, Texas. But neighborhoods of knowingness, right? And so what I've done so far is we take area churches, and then we kind of put together a development team to go out, and then we speak about these types of things, show videos and that. So I want to invite you. There's another one coming up on October 20th. And I'm going to pass this out to you. This one on October 20th is at New Salem Church, which is on 56 in Birmingham, South Tacoma. And so what happens there is that we gather and we talk about these types of things. Good neighbor village. We talk about start date. We talk about when are the first people going to move in. We talk about all of those things because that's the question that comes up. And I think we're targeting to have our first person move in probably 1 year from today, because it's gonna be in October sometime, next year, 2026. Right now, we're starting to do the grading. Oh, that's the other thing. So out in Spanaway area, it's a lot of septic. We are putting in sewer. And then being a good neighbor, we're inviting the neighbors to pipe into that sewer so that they can come off septic well. So when we named this Good Neighbor Village, there's a lot of thought into that, right? So we have our food services department, and our food service department is actually called Good Neighbor Cafe. So it's a connection, but it's because what we ultimately want to be are good neighbors to the folks around us and to each other in here. Oh, another great thing. Every one of these homes will have a porch. Because we understand how porches are. You sit on the porch, you can get you wave. You can't sit on the porch and just sit there like this. You have to wave when somebody goes by, or they wave at you, or something or other. But it gets you out. And I don't know if you noticed in the video, but you notice how in video they had this outside theater. We're not gonna have that. I joke because I think we can have it. We just have to cover it. We have to do some other things with it. But you know, Austin, they have better weather in the summer and all that stuff, so they can do that. But that's the idea, right? Because a lot of those folks in that video that were out there watching the movie, they were from the village. They were from the community. On movie night, so invite people over. Did you happen to see the mobile homes that were around that? Those mobile homes are Airbnbs that generate income for the village. And folks are living in those or renting those regularly. In fact, we had one of my coworkers took a couple of her friends down and stayed in one of the Airbnbs. You stay on property. You will hear, if you ever hear Duke or Deuce Paulson, our executive director, talk about it, he said that he purposely went out at nighttime and felt safe, more safe than he would in his neighborhood, to walk around in the streets. Because it is a safe place. And that's what we're bringing here. Safety first. Safety brings trust. Trust brings community. So I know, yes, sir.
Is there a standard floor plan? You say 399 square feet, so
Yes.
they 15 by 20 and are they built on site or big truck kit?
Okay, great question. No, so every home will be built on site and on a slab, concrete slab. They're permanent homes. So in Austin, if you saw that they were kind of up on some stilts, some of those, so they went through 3 phases. They went through the mobile home phase, then they went through the tiny home phase without plumbing, and then they went to the 3rd phase. Well, they actually had 4, but the 3rd phase of smaller homes with plumbing. Then they had the very first 3D printed home that wasn't on the company's property, built on their property. And now they have multiple 3D printed homes. I highly recommend go on YouTube and look at 3D printed homes and just watch that process. It's amazing to me. So every home will be permanent. Now, what happened with Austin was that they had the mobile homes, then they built the tiny homes. Folks from the mobile home said, well, what about, can we move into that home? And the answer was no. And then the folks who moved into tiny homes without plumbing, then they built the tiny homes with plumbing. They said, can we move into those? No. Well, because it's permanent. This is your permanent house. So when you move there, that's where you move. Now, the good news is we get to take up where their 3rd phase was. Not the 3D printed homes, but we get to take off from their 3rd phase with plumbing. Now, every home will have a half bathroom, so sink, toilet. We will have shower facilities. We will have a communal kitchen, but they will have a kitchenette. And then they will have a bedroom. But our missionals those will be the 800 square foot volunteer units. Because a missional, now, yeah, I'll tell you this story and then I'll relate it. So there was a couple that I spoke to. I got an opportunity to speak to the missionals living there. There was a couple, young couple, 30s. The young man, the young woman works there. The young man lives there as a missional. They have 3 daughters. He was holding one of his daughters and he said, Frank, I was born with a silver spoon in my mouth. I could live anywhere I want. He said, and we're choosing to live here on this property. And now Sarah, the wife, said, I want my daughters raised in a community like this. Because they get to see, they get to meet. This is the real world. And people are loving and kind and not, oh my gosh, those people. It's not that. It's like, hey, this person has gone through some things and now I can build a relationship with him or her. So she wants her daughters to be raised there. Now she has a job there, I get that, but still, she could have the job there and not live there. Right? So that's what we're talking about. Missionals, we're talking about buy-in, people that say, I want to stay here. Now, missionals will still pay rent. I think that rent is like $650 a month, right? For me, I'd live there, $650 a month rent for a year. Imagine the money you could save if you did that. But yeah, so I'm trying to touch on every area. If I'm missing something, yes.
You mentioned earlier about drug and alcohol, and maybe I just spaced out.
No, you're okay.
Can people use, but they're still good neighbors, or is it a no substance?
Yeah, so it's a low barrier.
Okay.
So low barrier means that yes, they can, but the hope is,
Right. So then
well, the hope is that the community will suggest the fact that we don't want that here, and they will stop,
right.
Or they'll want to get help, right? So they can go off property and use, but you cannot use on property. Cannot.
You can't.
If that we know of, because again, when you rent, when you rent, I'm sorry, when you rent, you have rental privilege.
Oh, yes.
So your question.
Can you drink alcohol on the property or not?
Again, what you do inside of your house,
Oh, no, that's fine.
you can do that,
Yeah,
but when it becomes a problem,
got it.
is when then it's going to be addressed.
Yeah.
So do I understand that right now you have staff and volunteers that are developing relationships with people who are going to be potential renters
Yes.
and residents?
Yes.
Is that what's happening?
Yes. Yes. And again, that's our search and rescue team and our outreach team.
Okay, so yeah.
Yes.
So-
Yes. I'll go here and here.
My question is, these people aren't moving in until next year,
Correct.
so you won't have that income coming into next year.
Yes.
So those of us that, already have our places for living and stuff like that, we could do financial giving, and do you have a thing that you can give us to? Us?
Yes.
So if we wanted to give some each month to help toward this, because that's expensive, the sewer, the building, the plumbing,
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah.
It's expensive, and you don't have no income coming in, so
Well,
I'm taking it you guys are needing extra cash to help with that.
yes, we will definitely and gladly and happily tonight take your donation. But truthfully speaking, the county has given us $22 million.
Wow.
So that's, that's a jump start of the program. It's not going to sustain it.
It's a lot.
Yeah, and to bring up your point, we're estimating in this day and age that it will cost us about $3 million per year to operate and sustain the program. Okay, so yes, we will definitely take donations. Hold on, I'm going to go here.
My question was regarding transportation.
Yeah.
Because it seems to be kind of off a beaten path, sort of. And I'm assuming that if we're living on the street, there's a better chance than average that you probably don't have your own vehicle.
True.
So is our transportation needs? going
Yes,
to
and
be
you
met?
answered the question. So you saw in the video where you saw a bus come into Community First video. Well, we're in talks with Pierce Transit. Pierce Transit will be coming on property, but here's the thing. We'll have, they won't come on for 15 people. They won't change a route to come for 15 people. So that's down the line some once we get more people. But in the meantime, we have buses, we have shuttles, our own, that will transport people on and off property if they need to go somewhere. So no one will be stuck there. And here's a perfect example. Let's say we complete. We have a person back here, living in this home back here. Well, there's something happening up here. I mean, that's kind of a long ways for a person to walk who's been living on the streets for a while. So we'll have, and I like this idea. They have it in Austin. We don't, maybe not so much here, but they have golf carts.
Yeah. That's what I said.
Yeah, they have golf carts that ride around and pick people up. And in fact, that's one of the jobs that people can drive around and pick people up and take them. So again, yes. Now, here's the thing about the homes. This Spanaway Loop Road. And Lynette, you've been there.
Yeah.
The first homes are built 3/4 of a mile back from that road. So they're so peaceful, so quiet, because you have to understand when folks are living on the streets, all they hear, noise, car noise, sirens, traffic, whatever. The only thing they'll hear, because I hear it in my house, airplane every now and then go over, from JBL. You'll hear that. I hear it all the time. And so you can get used to that. But it's so peaceful and quiet back here. Now, I say that, and I want to get to, you had your question, right? I want to get to your question in just a second. I say that, and you need to know this. It is going to be difficult for a person who's been living out on the streets, hearing a lot of noise, all of a sudden have peace and quiet. So, what we're doing about that is creating a care team. This is where, again, community comes in. A care team of folks who will walk alongside them as they get acclimated to the area. So it's not just throw them in there and say, well, you're on your own. No, it's like, well, I get that you're going to have a difficult time with this. How about if I walk with you on that? There was a lady, I'm coming to you. There was a lady in Austin who slept on her porch for 3 weeks. She didn't know how to go inside. Didn't want to go inside. Didn't know how to live inside. But the beautiful part of that is the staff said, it's okay. It's okay. We'll just check up on you until you're comfortable to go in. So it's not like, hey, you got a home, get in there. No, it's okay. Whenever you're ready. Question.
I was wondering who owns the property?
Tacoma Rescue Mission. Tacoma Rescue Mission will own the property, or owns the property.
So all the structures, everything involved in that is under the ownership of.
Yes.
I moved here recently from Dallas, Texas, and I had visited the Community First in Austin. I did a tour through it, and I cannot be more enthusiastic about the program. And I think one of the keys to it, because in Dallas, they built some tiny home villages, but the missionals are really key. Having people living in the community, often, having regular people say, oh, you need to check out your rug before you, all the dog hair on your rug before you put it in the washer.
Yeah.
Just people who are there who are really supportive, because a lot of homeless people don't have life skills.
Yes.
And so it's very powerful.
Yeah.
It's very powerful.
Oh my gosh, I'm so
I am
glad.
very enthusiastic about, and I'm very proud that Tacoma is adopting the real program.
Yeah.
It's not just building little houses, because that doesn't really work.
Well, and we see, here's a perception that people have. When we say we're building people love this tiny home village. Well, it's not that. Okay, they're more cottages type stuff. But here's the thing, you only think about, or you only speak about what you see. You see tiny home villages
Right.
throughout Tacoma that are not well-run. And like, man, I don't know, I don't want that out here in Spanaway, right? But it's nothing like that. And you've seen the model
Yeah.
from Community First. It's nothing like a tiny home village that you see around here.
And some of the missionals there said that, you know, people come down to tour and they're like, well, we want to move in.
Yeah,
We want to be a missional.
yeah.
They're like, you know, you want to work in your own community? No, we're moving here.
I went,
You know, but it's taken 25 years.
Yeah.
You know, it's a
Yeah.
long-term project.
it did. So they just celebrated their 10th year of having that property. The other years, they were still on the streets, right, doing things. Now, here's the beautiful part of them. Right across the street from that property that you were at, they're building more homes. I think 350 or 300 plus homes across the street. They were gifted the land. And they were gifted more land out by the airport that they're going to start building in the coming years. Because the problem is real.
Mhm.
And it's successful, which is why they have so many folks coming there to model after them.
Mhm.
So at its completion, we will have the largest solution or permanent solution to homelessness on the West Coast, or specifically in the Northwest. But no one's doing it in California, nobody's doing it in Oregon, so we're claiming it.
Yeah.
Right? Hold on, you had a question? Okay.
So on the question of the missionals, because you had said that in looking at potential people for the village, you know, you have to outreach people and you know, there's people out there kind of building relationships. So it seems like no matter what, the missionals is kind of like you're here for a period of time and then you go, right? And you also have to prevent it. How do you pick those people to then, you know, you've built trust with people, but then they come and these are not people that you know. So how do you kind of transition that? Or
Yeah.
the people that get to be a mission for the right reasons?
Yeah, so that's why it's a minimum of 12 months. Let's say you want to say 18 months. Let's say your heart is there, you want to say 24 months. That can happen.
Okay.
But in the meantime, we're creating this right now. Our missionals training. I'll be a part of the training team for the missionals. And so we're gonna work out all the kinks, if you will, because it won't be for everyone. It seems like, yeah, I want to be a part of that, but when I get there, it's like, I thought it was different. And so we want to try to weed that through, because again, when we want people to say, I could live anywhere and I'm choosing to live here. I thought, did you have questions?
Yeah, what's your eventual number? 270?
285 homes, right? About 260 to 55-ish will be for folks, homeless or formerly homeless folks. And the other is for missionals, volunteers, and those types of people.
You know, we have a couple of filmmakers, documentary filmmakers.
Yeah,
I would think one would be glad to jump on this project.
Mm.
You
I'm
follow
sure.
me through.
I'm sure.
That'd be
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah, I'm gonna give you a card because I'm sure you can get my information. I'm gonna give you a card anyway because that'd be a great contact to have. Thank you. Yes.
Another question. I know that I'm an occupational therapist, so this is my field, but just, last year and the year before, there is special money from the state to, put more occupational therapies into the homeless population, providing the life skills.
Yeah.
Are you using that funding?
I'm not sure. I have to say, I don't. But if we can, I'm sure we will.
Yeah.
Is there a contact person?
I'll see if I can find. Yeah. And it's actually like they put special money for occupational therapy and like a couple of year grant money to start the OTs in areas.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, it'd be wonderful.
so I'll see if I can find a couple of the OTs.
Thank you. Yeah, no, again, what we're trying to do is think of everything. Now, we're gonna miss the mark, right? And so that's where you come in, and that's why it's great having questions. Because here, if you go to our website, you go to give or gnblife.org, you'll have a FAQ on there, and you'll see a lot of questions, and you can ask questions on there as well, which we will answer. And then we will also build that out. So in case someone else has that same question. Yes.
Spanaway Lake up there, that's actually kind of in the swampland. What happens if it starts flooding? Do you guys have a place you can take people until the floods go down? I mean, it's just an honest question.
No, that's a perfect question, and I'll answer it this way. So these buffer zones, yeah, it's kind of up like this, and so the water won't, it won't.
It kind of rise quite a bit.
Yes,
All right.
yes, it had to be a catastrophic event for that water to come
I'm from
over.
the deep south, I know.
I know you do. And I tell you, I was down in Nashville, lived down in Nashville, and for a little bit, and sometimes they have those flash flood, and that you can't move, and then it floods everything else.
I'm from Georgia, so.
Oh yeah, there you go, there you go. I'm hoping to answer all of your questions. But
I was gonna say, does somebody have a question? Because I would say you didn't, no, we're good. I just,
Okay.
one of the things that was interesting that I learned when I was there is that these are all single units.
Yeah.
And so I wonder if you might talk about that a little bit, because that was interesting to
Absolutely.
me.
Yeah, because people will say, if they're married, if people are married, can they move into a home together? The answer is no. Every home will be single occupancy. Now, there's several ways to explain this, but I'll explain it in this way. When folks are living on the streets, there's a lot of assumptions in this, okay? It's kind of unhealthy. Let's say you're in a marriage, it's probably unhealthy. You don't want to take that, move that into a 300 square foot cottage, and then it becomes overly unhealthy because now you're in the same space. So let's say you have a married couple. Each of them are able to have their own, because if something happens, just go home.
Yeah.
All right. And I'll say this in this way, and this is you know, I say it lovingly and jokingly at the same time, but it's true. Again, been married for a while, but my wife and I, you know, disagreement. There's another room. Let's go to the other room, one of us, and then you know we get it back together. But when you're in that small space, so no, we won't have them together, married in there. Now, there could be missional couples, like we spoke about. Yes, absolutely. You have a question.
Actually, you read my mind, because my question was going to be about, is this only single occupancy or?
Yes.
So interesting.
Yes, thank you for that.
Yeah, I just found it interesting.
So the other thing is too, so missional pay rent, but they are volunteers there, so they're not gonna be, so if, do they work outside of the job?
Yeah.
So they can pay rent, and then when they are at home, then they're volunteering their time and services to help support. They're
Yes.
not expected to necessarily be on site 24/7.
Yes.
Since they're volunteering.
I may be off on the figure, but I believe it's weird. The expectation is that you will spend 25% of your nights there.
Oh.
So you could work, because again, modeling after Austin, there are missionals and they do that. They go off, they work, and they come back and they're there at night. Absolutely.
Missionals don't actually have a volunteer commitment, they're just living in the community.
Helping to build the community.
And then you have volunteers.
We have volunteers, AmeriCorps, all of these folks will be coming in to help. Again, this is 2-acre farm. And it, the idea is that we will grow, harvest, and we will sell, like in a farmer's market type thing out of the building here. On this map, it will be out of this building, but this building is down the road.
I had a question.
Yeah.
You said that, you know, they're gonna have their own little kitchenette, that you're doing the communal cooking. Are you having people come in and volunteer to do that? To give, because I know it's gonna be a transition for them cooking for themselves and going through, like, we go down to the mission and cook every Saturday and serve.
Yeah.
I mean, are you gonna need people to go down there and do something like that?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. Because again, when I take, so you're gonna have a little kitchenette, so they'll have a little hot plate, and then they have a little microwave.
Yeah.
Right? But because that's what they're kind of used to. But outside of that, let's say there's some growth happening here. The kitchen will be available. Right now we have Derek Bray. So Derek Bray used to own a restaurant called The Table on 6th Avenue.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if you guys have heard of that.
Yeah.
And Derek Bray is Tacoma's very own James Beard nominee, right? And so he is working at the Rescue Mission currently.
Oh,
And what he is doing is developing a culinary arts program.
oh my gosh.
And he has
Very
also designed the kitchen at Good Neighbor Village. So we will be preparing meals and feeding people there. Because who can live off a cup of noodles in the microwave forever?
That's it.
Yeah, they have little kitchenettes.
The kitchenettes.
Yeah, a little microwave and then a little
Burner.
hot plate.
Yeah.
Refrigerator, yeah,
Little
refrigerator.
yeah.
Little
But
refrigerator.
not a stove.
No, not a stove, nothing like that.
But you're developing a program that the people who live there can actually prepare and make food and stuff. So maybe they can't work on the farm,
Yeah.
pay their rent, but they can work there. Because there's a model like in Portland for individuals with disabilities. They have a culinary school and the food and everything is donated. So they go through a 16-week class making those, but then all the meals that they make go back into the community to homeless shelters.
Yeah.
So it's like kind of sustainable all the way around.
That's the idea, down the line.
Hmm.
Down the line. Once we expand it out, yes, for sure. Okay, be respectful of your
I would
time.
say we're about out of time, so I'm a big start on time, end on time person.
So am I, but one more
Excellent.
thing.
Yes,
I
exactly.
have to do this.
Yes, yes.
So we
Please
are
do.
having a Rock with a Reason
Hmm.
event, and it is on Monday, October 13th. And tickets are like $12.50. If
Wow.
you like music, you might want to join.
Awesome.
Right, will you be getting people from Fortune Paths?
So Forging Paths is no longer.
That's what I was wondering, if it moved or if it was gone.
So Forging Paths was people were, and it was run by, I believe it was run by Catholic Community Services or Lehigh Low Income Housing Initiative at one
Right.
time. So the mission recently, it was staffed by rescue mission folks. Oh, and it turned the corner because it wasn't safe. I had a friend of my wife and I went to visit a friend of ours that lived there, and it was just not a safe place. But so the mission came in, cleaned it up, made it safer, put security measures in place, and so then funding went out. And it just ran out at the end of June, or beginning of, whenever the fiscal year starts, so July. Yeah, it ran out. So that is no more because now Lehigh, the property's still there and they're going to build low-income housing apartments. Yeah.
And where did the people have any other places to go?
Some came, well, we see it all. When something goes down, it comes down to the mission.
I got
Well,
really doing that.
Yeah.
You see, well, I
So
think,
again. I
any
wanna-
last words, Frank? Yeah.
Make sure that I say this. We cannot do this without you. Volunteering, donating, praying, whatever you feel that you need to do for us as a whole rescue mission, please do that. And I will be available to answer any of your questions. If you think of more, you can get my information. I really truly appreciate you for allowing me to come here and to having the
Thank you.
idea of it. We did discuss something like
Yeah,
that. And then when it comes to fruition, you're like,
Yes, exactly.
and so I really appreciate that.
Yeah.
So thank you,
No.
folks who are online. Didn't get to see you in person, but
All right.
do they have any questions?
I don't know. I will get the
Okay.
questions if they need to.
Question.
All right.
To your knowledge, are there other towns, cities looking to replicate the model
Not around here, but yes, across the country.
California?
Not that I know of in California.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, thank you.
And I brought other information about the rescue mission over there if you'd like to or peruse through that.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
All right.